Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar. My name is Carly with Wesk. For those who are unfamiliar, we host a free webinar usually on a monthly basis, but now on a weekly basis. These webinars are recorded and can be viewed at our website at any time. Today, our topic is the Entrepreneur's Guide to Maintaining Sales During COVID-19. It's presented by Daria Malin, owner of Boost Strategic Coaching. If you have any questions during the presentation, please write them in the chat box below. I will let Daria decide if she will answer them during or after the presentation. Thank you, Daria, for joining us today. Please start whenever you're ready.
All right, thank you for having me. I would probably ask that you post questions as we go, but I will make a note to look at the chat at the end and answer all the questions at the end, so that because otherwise I think I'm going to forget to look back at the chat while I'm talking. So yes, please, as we're going, think of questions that I haven't covered that you'd like answered. So I have been doing a lot of speaking for the business community since COVID hit, because my goal is to just give you some tools that you can be using to navigate this unprecedented time in our business world and in our world in general. As we adjust to the new norm, many entrepreneurs are sitting home wondering, where are my clients going to come from? The ability to go out and network the way that we used to, go on sales calls, meet new people, has been taken away from us. People are suffering and business is not as usual. However, it is crucial to take action and keep our sales activities up in order to weather the storm. So today I would like to go through 5 things that you can keep in mind and do that will keep you focused on sales while you're working from home. But first, I want to tell you a little bit about me and why I'm here talking to you about this today. So I know a number of you in the group, but there are some people that I've never had a chance to meet. And so I'd like you to know where my experience comes from and where I've been able to build this knowledge base that I'm happy to share with you today. So my company, Boost Strategic Coaching, in my company, I support business owners and professionals to find clarity when it comes to their sales and marketing efforts. And I do this through one-on-one coaching, group training, and online programs. But I wasn't always a business owner. I started my career right out of university selling media advertising campaigns to retailers. As a recent grad with a BCom in marketing, I had 0 sales experience or training for it. I started when I was 22 years old and knowing less than my clients did about both business and advertising, and usually being at least half their age. During my career, I had to restart a number of times. I started with no clients. Basically, I was handed a phone book and told to go prospect, because back then the yellow pages were our prospecting tool. That was sort of pre-Google. And after I built my business in media from scratch, then I went on 3 maternity leaves. So for those of you who have left a sales role and come back, you know that there's a lot of rebuilding to do when you've been gone for a year. I remember one day sitting in my cubicle about 6 months after being back from a maternity leave. It was mid-morning and fairly quiet in the office because most of my coworkers were out at meetings. I had just gotten off of 2 hours of cold calling, and I remember staring at my Excel spreadsheet, all of the calls I'd made over that past 6 months and meetings I'd had with prospects, follow-ups I'd done, and thinking, I've been back at this for 6 months. Why have I sold so little? Why are things taking so long to build up? And I remember thinking, I'm really good at my job. I have happy past clients. Why is it such an uphill battle? And where are my clients going to come from? Now, by that point, I'd already become an expert in advertising by working with small businesses on their campaigns and promotions over all of those years. But at that moment, I realized that what I needed was to be outstanding at selling. It wasn't enough to just be really good at the service that I offer. If I couldn't sell it, then I couldn't change the businesses of the people that I wanted to work with. And so I had to figure out a better process for sales. So it prompted me to start working on my sales skills, testing things out and learning more from others, and practicing. And I've since narrowed down my system to 4 fundamental steps I follow each and every week and month, no matter what is happening in my life or in the market. And those are narrowing down to 3 niche markets, developing messaging that will be compelling to them, focusing on watering holes where I can find them, so being deliberate in where I'm going to look for my clients, and building champions. And we're going to touch on a couple of those points today. When I started following those steps, my numbers got stronger and stronger. I used them to maximize my opportunity in my sales career. And I use what I learned both in sales and advertising to build Boost strategic coaching as well as a successful niche apparel company on the side. So I bring a few things to the table. A deep understanding of what it takes to make advertising work, and my signature sales process, how to take a service business from zero to success with the right sales strategy. Now, one of the keys to success of any strategy is to follow a process consistently, week in and week out. So that's what I want to focus with you on today. It's the consistency piece. Even though there is a temptation to hibernate and wait until this is all over, unfortunately, it's going to be a while and that before things go back to normal, whatever that's going to look like. And the sooner that we can put some practices into place to keep business moving, the better off our businesses will be in the end. So we're going to talk about what you need to keep in mind and be consistent with week in, week out during this crisis. Working from home is a new thing to a lot of people. I've been doing it for a number of years now, but for a lot of people, it's especially challenging. Now, we're all facing somewhat of a restart right now. Just like when I was sitting in my cubicle, many of you are working from home for the first time, and you're wondering, where are the clients going to come from? Fear can get a hold of you, but I know that with a plan, you are setting yourself up for the best chance of success. I do want to acknowledge that some of you have had to literally shut down your business and cannot serve your customers right now at all, or you're just getting back to it, and that wasn't your choice. So we do truly hope that you'll be able to reopen and bounce back as soon as possible. But many of you are at home with a service that's still needed and deliverable, but just unsure how to go about business, or even if it's appropriate and sensitive to do so right now. So we'll talk about that in a minute. But for those of you who cannot operate right now, I hope to leave you with some of the things that you can be doing even if you're closed. My why has always been because I believe that many people have great things to offer the world that will be of huge benefit to their clients, but they just need some help in connecting with those clients effectively. And that's especially true right now. So that's why I am here. So the steps that I want to go over with you today are: step 1, be of service first. Step 2, be disciplined with your time. Step 3, try not to make assumptions. Step 4, keep your champions close. And step 5, reconnect with past clients. So what do I mean by, well, before we get into being of service, I wanted to touch on the question I have been asked a lot over the last few months, which is it okay to be doing business right now? Professionals aren't sure how to navigate a very sensitive business environment and are wondering if it's appropriate to reach out to prospects and follow up on pending deals. The answer is always yes. And for those of you who have heard me speak this spring, what I keep repeating is that without revenue, there can be no mission. So those of us not in forced business shutdown need to keep generating revenue. Without revenue, there can be no mission. Your markets and champions need to know that you're still there for them, offering support and the services that they need, and that you'll still be there when this is all over because you're being proactive and keeping your business running. So how do you do this? Well, right now, we have to represent the current market dynamic. Right now, all sales calls are service calls. Be sensitive to the current market. People don't want to be sold right now. They want to be cared for. So if you haven't reached out to all of your clients, make sure you're starting to talk to them and simply call and ask them how they're doing. What do they need right now? And let your customers set the pace. There have been a lot of business successes over the last few months, and business owners have been shocked. They didn't think there was opportunity, but people were actually looking for and asking for what they sold. So if they had made assumptions that nobody was buying, then they would have lost the opportunity. But let your customers set the pace. Let them know what they want from you. Let them know how they want to be communicated with. For example, if you're emailing and none of your emails are being open right now, they don't want that right now. Okay? Always be thinking, is it appropriate? Am I adding value? Is it self-serving? Or is it there really to serve our customers? Okay. So it's never a bad thing to just test, reach out, talk to your customers, ask what's top of mind with them, and see how you can build your messaging to the rest of your customers based on what you're learning from the ones that you're in touch with. So action step for right now, determine what needs you are best equipped to fill for your clients right now. Figure out if anything needs to shift in your business model in order to do so. For example, offering virtual services rather than in person if you haven't changed to do that yet. So using ourselves as an example, we have an online group accelerator coaching program that was going to launch next fall, but people were asking for it and things got turned upside down and we were home more. So we put focus on it and were able to launch it a couple of weeks ago instead of waiting till the fall. So once you have figured out the path, do not wait. Look at what your clients' needs are and what needs to be tweaked. Test it, ask your clients, if they're looking for what you would like to offer them. But once you've charted the course, move forward with it. You can always tweak. It's better to launch and have something rather than wait until everything's perfect and never bother launching. You can launch and then you can tweak and adjust as you learn, okay? So now that we're done talking about being of service, we're going to get into being disciplined with our time. Okay, so I always follow a weekly schedule. Many professionals don't, but when at home with all of the distractions that we have right now with homeschooling, your spouse working a few feet away from you, this is more important than ever. Now, when I say a weekly schedule, I mean that you not only stick to a routine, so regular work hours, check emails at certain times a day, process paperwork, but also that you specifically schedule in business development. Designate certain days and times each week that will be your business development time, then stick to those times. Make them the most important appointments you have in your schedule. For example, it could be Tuesday afternoons, Thursday mornings, and all day Fridays. Put those as repeating appointments in your calendar, and those aren't movable. Okay, treat them as if they're appointments with your biggest clients. We always say that the seeds you plant now will affect your business 3 months from now. So we need to keep making connections consistently to smooth out the ups and downs in our business. This is always the case, but it's more important now than ever. So the seeds you're planting now may not sprout for a few months because people are taking their time getting back into business. But if you're not doing the work now, you're going to be way further behind in the fall, for example. Okay. So weekly schedule. Sometimes I feel like when chaos is hitting and there's a bunch of paperwork and requests and things that aren't your core work, they're just sort of that extra busy work. I always think if you've got your business development time solid, even if everything else goes to heck, you've done what you need to do this week to move business forward. Okay. So if you have any questions about scheduling, weekly scheduling, I could talk about that for hours, that alone for hours. Okay, so that's what I wanted to talk about managing your time right now. Next step, don't make assumptions. Don't make assumptions or excuses. This isn't the time for excuses, but what I mean by that is it would be easy to say, well, nobody's buying, so what's the point of doing anything? While that may be true for a lot of the population, there's still a percentage of the population that is buying and nobody's calling on them. Your competition is likely not doing anything because they assume nobody at all is buying. So I want to encourage you to be open to opportunities. Look at it like your favorite store opening at 5 in the morning on Boxing Day, but nobody else bothered to get out of bed until 10 a.m. You kind of have it all to yourself. So if you're the one being proactive, there's going to be opportunities for you that other people are missing. So revisit your niche markets at this time. With my one-on-one clients, when we're building our marketing strategy, step one is always selecting 3 niche markets. Niche markets are simply customer groups that are different from each other. They're big enough that there's going to be enough business there for you, but small enough that you can become known as the go-to provider among them. So you have word of mouth working for you because they talk amongst themselves, but it's big enough that the niche will always replenish itself. So there's always new people coming in. We choose niche markets for a few big reasons. First of all, it gives us a focus for our time and energy when we go to do business development or marketing. rather than just you have been tasked to now reach the city. You now know a specific group of people that you're looking to reach. It gives us, it allows other people to place us in their minds so they know that you work with this niche. And so when somebody from that niche needs what you do, you're more likely to come up in their minds. Okay, and once we know who we're targeting, we can develop messaging that will be compelling to them. And, you know, when we are known as the go-to within that niche, people know to send people our way from that niche. So right now, it's important to revisit our niche markets because a lot of things have changed. So have some of your niche markets that you were previously targeting shut down. Are there new ones emerging that need you more than ever? Which ones will still exist when this crisis is over? I encourage you to figure out 3 niche markets that need you the most right now, you know, and then make a plan to start doing business or to start reaching out to them. Okay. Now that's what I wanted to mention about making assumptions and revisiting your niche markets. Now I'd like to move on to talking a little bit about champions. Right now, it's time to keep our champions close. Champions are simply educated referral sources for our business. They have influence over one or more of our niche markets, and they talk to them on a regular basis. So the huge difference between referral sources, people that you go to and ask for referrals, and champions is that a champion relationship is a two-way relationship. So in order to have good champions, we first aim to be good champions. Champions are always important in our business, but right now they're more important than ever. Some may be active, others may be hibernating, but none of them are but if you keep in touch with them and check on them and see how they're doing and see if there's things that you can be doing together, even those inactive ones are going to remember that you are there regularly to make sure they're being cared for. So find out what they need right now. Look to be of service. Now's the time to show love, okay? People are looking for support and caring, and business is less transactional and very much more relational. So be in touch, see if there's opportunities you can work on now, but just know that even if there's nothing right now, who do you think they'll think of down the road when something comes up? Because you've been the one that's in touch with them and others aren't. So action step for this would be make a list of 10 of your best champions, people who have been important in your business before and will be important in your business in the future. Book coffee meetings with them over the next month, virtual coffee meetings with them over the next month, or my favorite, virtual happy hour meetings, or even old-fashioned phone calls. You know, when you phone somebody without pre-planning the phone call, you just literally pick up the phone and say hi. So find out how they're doing, what they're working on, ask them what they're looking forward to once this is all done and the world opens up again, because you can be a positive reminder in their minds that there is an end to this and get them thinking ahead as to what they're looking forward to rather than just being in the moment of I'm stuck at home. Okay. So selecting niche markets, developing messaging for them, identifying watering holes where you can find them, being focused on where we're marketing, and building champions are my 4-step blueprint for successfully marketing any business. These are the marketing fundamentals that mattered 6 months ago, and they're relevant now, and they'll be relevant in 6 months. Whether you're just starting out or have been in business for years, and whether it's just you or if you're working with a team. I touched on a couple of these today, selecting 3 niche markets and building champions, but these are just the kinds of things that we cover in the Rethink Marketing online program that I mentioned. So for those of you who are interested in learning how to apply those 4 steps to your business, you can register anytime on my website, and I'll give you the link at the end. Okay, so that's all I wanted to say about champions. And next I want to talk about past clients and why they're so important right now. Okay. So reconnect with past clients. Right now, during this time of uncertainty, people are looking for things that are familiar. We don't know what's going to happen outside our doors. We don't know what's going to happen in 6 months. So we want things that are familiar, and we're going to be more likely to do business with people that we already know, like, and trust. When we're building business, we need to be building visibility, then credibility follows, and then profitability follows. Often we want to skip those first 2 steps, but it doesn't work that way. You build visibility, then credibility, then profitability. And so Right now, it's a little bit more difficult to build visibility, so past clients can be a good source for new opportunities. And again, let your customers know that you're there, thinking about them, check what they're working on, see how their business has changed. Again, the theme here is just be in touch with people, and they're going to be, they're going to be thinking of you, and we can all be building our business together that way. So action step for this, look back at your top clients over the last 2 years and diarize to reach out to even 5 of them each week. So 1 a day, just to check in and see how things are going. And you never know what opportunity comes from there. Okay. So to recap, we want to be of service first, use this opportunity to build relationships. When we're building a client base, we're always looking to build intimacy, and often it takes a while because it takes time to find commonalities. Are you from the same town? Did you grow up playing this sport? Usually in Saskatchewan, we find that we're related to somebody they know within 2 or 3 questions, but we're always looking in sales to build some kind of a connection. But for the first time in our lives, literally everybody on the globe has this big major thing in common. So right now it's actually easier and more natural to build connections. I'm pretty sure none of you have had many conversations without starting with, how are you doing? How's your family? How is homeschooling? How's your business? It's just what we have in common. It's what's top of mind. Second, be disciplined with your time. Set a weekly schedule that includes business development time and stick to it. When so much of our world is uncertain and there's so much we cannot control, something we can control is our schedule and our activity level. Even when there are big distractions, I know I feel more confident by Friday afternoon when I know I've done the things each week that move the needle on my business, and I haven't let busy work get in the way of business development. Third, don't assume nobody's buying. Fewer people are buying in a lot of situations, but there are some niches that may need you more than ever. So look for opportunities and look at what your competitors are doing or not doing, and see which niches might be emerging that might need you the most right now. Keep connected with your champions and see how you can be of support for each other during this time. And last, reconnect with past clients. Your inner circle is the best place to focus right now. I often talk about it like the rings on a tree. So start with the people who you're closest to, and then your network, and then sort of the people that you've met over the last few years that maybe you don't keep in touch with as much, but should be talking to more. Okay. So these are the things I want to leave you with. So pretending I'm your coach for a minute, if you're sitting at home wondering what you should be doing right after we get off this call, I would suggest first, make a list of your inner circle, best clients and champions, and start reaching out to them to have those conversations we talked about, and continue to be in touch with them. Revisit your niche markets and figure out how you're going to communicate with them effectively, whether that's directly or through champions, virtual events, or other channels like social media over the next 6 months. And decide what your offering is going to be for 2020, assuming that this is going to be the new normal for a while. I truly believe that setting goals and keeping our activity level up, that means making a commitment to connect with our people each week, is going to be the best way to maintain business and weather the storm during COVID. So thank you for, look at my lovely slide. My big face is covering my website on my slide. Thank you for being on the call. I have there's free resources for you. I just relaunched my website, boostcoaching.ca. There's an entire resource section that you can take a look at your leisure. There's a COVID survival guide. That's a worksheet you can download. Now, if you're sitting at home thinking, I know there's opportunity there, and I just don't know that I'm going to maximize on the opportunity, or I'm worried that I'm not doing the right things, send me an email. And I'd be happy to grab half an hour on the phone with you to talk about your strategy and what you're doing. And of course, you can check out the 8-week group coaching. You can join anytime. It's at boostcoaching.ca/rethink marketing. So I'm going to open up to questions. And so if you have any questions, please throw them into the chat, and I'll do my best to answer them. And I will say, one of the biggest questions that I'm asked on a regular basis is, what's the best way to market my business? So I've already given you a couple tools in this session that would answer that. You can't know what the best way to market your business is until you've first decided who your niche markets are. Once you've decided who those niche markets are, then you can make a list of places that they hang out. So you might look at industry association events for the niche, or it could be gatherings, or it could be a closed Facebook group, or or a magazine, or, right? Once you figure out who you are fishing for, you know which ponds to go to. And so I can never answer that question effectively until I first know who you're going for, and then we can figure out where to find them. It doesn't look like there's any questions, but I'll certainly, oh, somebody's typing. And if not, Carly, you are welcome to take over. Okay, question has popped up. If a business is open, what are your thoughts on doing a cold call in person? When you are looking to cold call, your only goal is to win a meeting. It's not to pitch your business on the spot. So absolutely stop in, make a face-to-face introduction and say hello, but you're interrupting them unexpectedly. So don't go in hoping to sit down with that business owner on the spot because you've stopped into their business and ask them a bunch of questions and tell them what you sell. But it's definitely reasonable and a good way to meet. Go in, say hello, who you are, here's my card, wondering if there's a time that I can come back and have half an hour conversation with you, or I'd love to learn more about your business and tell you a little bit about what I do. When is a good time for us to set that up? So yes, absolutely. If a business is open, you can do a cold call in person, but make sure that your goal is to use that cold call just to get another meeting that they're expecting where they can actually set aside time for you. Yeah. Jolene says, thank you. I'm excited to be part of your course right now. I'm excited that you're part of my course right now as well. Thank you. Yeah, we launched last week and we have a nice big group of professionals from all three of my niche markets, which is awesome. And they're starting to get to know each other. And we do weekly group coaching where they can post questions about the modules they're doing online. And I answer them as a group, and then everybody learns from the answers that people are getting for their questions. Yeah, so Lisa asked how the program works. So you get 8 modules online. There's a video and a worksheet and extra resources. Each week you get a module, you do it, and then you post questions in our closed online group. And then we get together on Zoom once a week where we go through it. I do a little bit of teaching and a recap, and then we answer all the questions. And so you learn from each other's examples. And we also have a closed online group where people can have conversations. I'm posting extra resources, and we're using it to try to network when there's less ways to network in the world right now. Another question, in terms of pivoting business, does it make sense to test the idea with inner circle or someone who is not such a close contact? Absolutely. I always encourage my one-on-one clients to make a list of people in the niche markets that they want to target and do some informal market research. Literally buy a guy a coffee and ask if you can pick their brain. So come up with questions in advance of what you wish you knew or what would be helpful to know so that you can serve that niche better, or even if it's a good niche for you, and then spend some time asking that question. Just a handful of people, just 5 people per niche, for example, just so that you know. Because yeah, Janet, you don't want to jump into a niche blind and make a bunch of assumptions that they actually want to buy what you're selling. I hope that answers that question. Sometimes if you don't know people in the niche, or you only know people way too well and they're too close to you, you can look at who you know that knows people in the niche and say, hey, I want to serve this niche better. Can you make an introduction to me to so-and-so who's in that niche so that I can ask them a few questions? Another question, what are your niche markets? Just to give me a sense of what a niche is. You bet. So my niche markets, there are 3 of them, of course. One is business owners who are directly in service-based businesses who are directly in business development themselves. The second one is seasoned sales professionals who want to put a finer point on their sales skills. So that's people who are in financial services, real estate. So they're in sales, they've done the cold calling, they want to up their game and change how they're doing business and use their network better and their experience better. And my third is professional service providers who are previously not required to sell. So that means people who are technical professionals like lawyers, architects, engineers. They need to find clients, but they're not sure. They just have never been taught how to do that because they didn't go in to be a salesperson, if that makes sense. Yeah. Yes. Also, what is the cost of service? Of course, we want to generate revenue while providing good value, but know that so many are struggling financially right now. So you still need to run your business and you still need to be profitable so that you're here for your clients at the end of this. So you can certainly look at payment plans or unbundling your services to make it more doable, but you need to be working with businesses or clients who have both the means and the need for what you sell. So if you have a niche market who all of a sudden can't afford you, unfortunately, they may not be a niche market for you anymore because you can't be doing this business as a charity. So you need to be working with people who can afford you for what you have to charge in order to be successful in your business, or you're not going to weather the storm and then you won't be able to help anybody after. So I don't encourage you to really discount. But I know people who have, like I said, unbundled, or they've created payment plans or terms for people to make it easier on them. Certainly work with them and add as much value as you can. But ultimately, you need to find your niche markets have to have both of those elements, both the need, the perceived need, so they know that they need you, not just you think that they should buy you, right? But then they also actually have to be able to pay you. Otherwise, it's charity. And you can certainly take on a couple of charity clients once in a while or do something pro bono, but that can't be your business model and it shouldn't be your niche markets. Yeah. Great questions. Thank you. Anybody else? Awesome. Yeah, so certainly reach out by email if you want to grab half hour with me, or you can even book that right through my website. And I was happy to be here today. Thank you. Carly, you want to take over?
Yeah. Thanks so much for taking the time to share with us today.
Yeah.
Thank everyone else who was able to join us for today's webinar. So you will be able to view this on demand by the end of the day today on our website. So have a great day, everyone, and thank you for tuning in.
Take care. Thank you.